So every lawyer should understand their market more than anything else, right? I have a couple cheat codes that number one, I actually like people, right? Number two, I have a very unique market that I understand really well because my market is comprised of people just like me. So I am my market. I don't have to learn it.
Lawsome, the podcast for law firms. Powered by ConsultWebs.
Welcome back to Lawsome, the only podcast for law firms with a track record longer than a DC-20 aircraft. We're here to inform, educate, and entertain the legal community on the latest in legal marketing and law firm development. I'm Jake Sanders, he's Paul Julius, and we understand what you've been going through, because we've been going through it too, but we just don't wear pants.
Yeah, so that part of it, we don't go through.
It's different. You're probably panted out there.
I would urge everyone to maybe try it from our side.
Come on over. I've seen a lot of legs that look like those chicken fries from Burger King. We got to get them tough. You got to develop your calf muscles. We need summer legs out there, guys. I'd wear shorts to the courtroom if I was a lawyer. Don't do that. Oh my God.
Which is one of the, you can just throw that on the pile of why Jake is not a lawyer.
You can wear the whole suit top and then just like dress shorts? Do they have those? I think they call them shants.
Jake shows up with breakaway pants.
Once they're like finding favor for you.
They'd remember you. Talk about a brand move.
What a transformation. Is this the caterpillar butterfly lawyer who turns into a butterfly?
He did break out of something. It just, I mean...
Why wouldn't you bring a pocket full of glitter to the trial and just like throw it up in the air and just start your opening arguments with bam, just a little bit of flair?
Something to get everyone in the mood. Something magical was about to happen.
You'd be like, hey, hand me that hat. There's a rabbit in there.
Yeah.
What?
Your Honor, there's something behind your ear.
Now,
and that's why we're in jail.
Anyway, let's be magical and transform this intro into something useful. Tell people what's on the show today.
On the show today, we're talking about authenticity in action, how your firm can build on it. First, with an article from Attorney at Work, and then we continue the conversation with North Carolina criminal defense attorney Johnnie Finch. And of course, we completely failed to surprise our guest with 5 questions we ask everyone.
Pull up a plate. It's the Hot Takes Buffet.
The hot take buffet today is from the chefs, the chef mastermind, the Iron Chefs at attorneyatwork.com. Sous Chef Jay Harrington is got his mise en place just ripping.
Smoking in the kitchen.
Carrots.
Attorney at Work.
Diced onions. Celery. We're just seeing some sofrito kind of action here. The title is 5 Business Development Mistakes Lawyers Make and What to Do Instead. Not the mistakes. You know what I mean? Don't do these mistakes. They point them out. I'll outline them. We'll provide our hot takes. The intro. So why do some lawyers succeed at building practices while others struggle? Here are 5 common business development mistakes that lawyers make. So the numbers. 1, lack of positioning. 2, lack of planning. 3, lack of consistency. 4, lack of visibility. And 5, lack of confidence. All of those add up to business development mistakes lawyers make. So, I mean, that's legal marketing, mistakes, sales mistakes, advertising mistakes. Call them what you want. But these are the things where you don't do this. Get the position right, get the planning right, be consistent, be visible, and have confidence. And it seems like, my hot take is, why don't people know that they are failing here? I think most people have a very rosy tinted view of themselves. So if you're left up to evaluate your performance, I think you're going to give yourself pretty good grades. Like, I like what I'm doing here. And you're not going to notice that you lack position, or you're not going to notice that you lack planning. You're just going to say marketing doesn't work. You're not going to think that it's you. You're going to think it's it. And my idea is people who know business development, they will go into this and they will say, of course. People who don't or can't recognize it won't take advantage of this and will continue their problems. So I think it's really interesting because I'm thinking that the key here is to know if you're the problem, and if you can't, no amount of advice is going to help you. This is great advice too. Very simple. But my hot take is, how do people know it's them?
And that's a great point. And it's this article is really good. And I think they kind of saved the best for last here.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of confidence thing. And I think this is part of anybody who does like a service-based business or something where,
like lawyers, maybe.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's your name, it's your firm or one of your names, if you're a partner or whatever, it's there. So it does make it difficult to not take it personal. It's difficult to look at it as a business development and not a personal development.
Wow.
And I think that's what I really got out of this article was that, you have to look at these things and say, if we're going to expand, whether we are going to, look at the market here in, whatever, Raleigh or Denver or, San Antonio or whatever, you say, okay, look, we understand there's X amount of, PI cases per month, per year, whatever. That's our market. How much of this market share do we currently have? How much are we going to try? Now we can either try and develop new business or become more competitive and take our competitors' business.
Right.
This is a business approach. How much is this going to cost? What do we expect out of this? How much time is it going to take?
Yep.
What's our break-even point? You know what I'm saying? This is a business way to look at it. Now we need to invest in marketing. We need to do this. It's going to cost X amount of money. If you approach it that way, you've given yourself this idea of I'm a business person, and that's the you have to be confident, and that's why I look at number 5. I have to be confident. I have to say I am a business leader, not just a lawyer. Not just someone who has responsibilities to clients. Man. I'm going to go and do this. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh man, $6,000, that's a lot of money. That's scared money, and if I always go and talk about the poker analogies, but I mean, if you sit down at a poker table and you're scared money, they're going to eat you up. And honestly, you don't belong there. You need to sit down there and say, okay, I know what I can do. I'm ready to sit down and play. This money is something I'm comfortable using to build my bankroll. And that's what I'm talking about.
Well, and what's so crazy is you're equating confidence with investments, which I think is a little bit dangerous because it all seems like a gamble. But Johnnie, later on in his interview talks about the way he approaches marketing, and it's as if it isn't marketing. If it smells too salesy, it's not right. Because he's figured out how to behave in a way that ensures marketing takes care of itself by the actions that he takes naturally. And he invests in it. I mean, one of his last tips that he gives in his interview is don't be shabby. He basically says this, which you're like, guys, this is such a fundamental truth. But we all see the best us in the mirror. We aren't the problem. We aren't the thing that needs to change. And you know what? The truth is, most times, the only thing you can change and the only thing you can adjust is what you do and how you think or how you approach something. And so if you were really honest with yourself, like Paul was saying, starting from a business mentality and just give me the benchmarks. What does it take to succeed right now in this place where we are, based on what we have, based on what we've seen? And then you start setting a plan to engage through marketing and then understand what works. And then through the marketing, learn how to make it better, learn how to refine it, learn how to get more confident with it. But it can't happen unless you start with this sort of place. And it's this smell test. You know, Johnnie talks about the smell test, the marketing smell test. If it stinks, don't do it. Because I think that's what gets most people put off of marketing, is they get really pumped and they come out of this, you know, the latest webinar, you know, with 10 takeaways, and they're really focused on one, and then they get burnt out because it turns out my nephew's cousin isn't the TikTok phenom we said he would be.
I think that goes to number 3 a little bit too. Lack of consistency.
Oh yeah, all of a sudden we're going to go hard and social.
Here, yeah, exactly. Like out of nowhere, I've, you know, sponsored a baseball team. I, you know, spoke at my church group, and, you know, I'm hosting a you know, pro bono thing for people with, you know, traffic moving violation questions. Like if you just blast that out of nowhere and then stop, you know, number one, it feels like a gimmick. I mean, it probably is a gimmick. You know, and number 2, there's nothing, you didn't build on anything.
Yeah.
And you're not looking to build on anything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's Jake, that is exactly what we hear all the time. Someone goes in there and says, you need to, you know, make sure you're, you know, do this, you know, host a podcast, get on YouTube, do a Facebook Live. But if there's no consistent approach to this, if you're not doing it on the regular, if you're not doing it for any discernible reason,
right,
then what's, you know, of course. And then when it doesn't work, well, now you're not going to be confident to try it again.
And I think to all of this point, Jay Harrington's article's great. Excellent point, Paul. The real casualty here is marketing. It just doesn't work. Or is it what you
feel like it doesn't work?
And you could even be doing it and it's working, but you might not be paying attention to it, so you think it isn't working. So, you know, the truth here is what I think you said is essential. Please focus on these mistakes, correct them. But the number one mistake, something that we've heard from guests from numerous different places, start measuring, start capturing the data that matters. These benchmarks of your marketplace. How much does it cost for you to get a client? How much does it cost for you to lose one? Start getting those numbers, and then you can start approaching this in a way that makes you feel, I'm not approaching this as if it's a gamble, because this isn't a casino. What you're doing with marketing and advertising is you're paying, and through, you know, whatever resource that is it time? Is it money? Is it your attention? Maybe you're paying all of those things towards advertising and marketing, but with that, you're raising up this weather vane that will get you, or like a weather balloon, something that tests the patterns of your marketplace, something that reacts and that you can see your impact. But unless you pay with time, money, or attention to raise your marketing and advertising and awareness in your own life or in your marketplace, you're never going to know what you're doing. So it's always going to be some sort of quantum Schrodinger's marketer, director, that you'll never quite be able to close in on the right numbers. So start measuring, start capturing, and sit down and listen to a legal marketer who takes it seriously, who gives you tips on how to behave in the marketplace in an authentic way that doesn't make you seem like some shill. Because really the point is you don't want to do this because it feels weird. I'm not the Sharky lawyer. I'm not that lawyer. Well, if you're not that lawyer, then who are you? Because if you don't tell people who you are, they'll define you in the vacuum. So,
yeah, man, if you're good at what you do, be confident in it. Let people know. People want good service. They just need to know where it is.
And you know where it is. It's here on the Lawson Podcast with great interviews, hot takes from Attorney at Work and Jay Harrington, and an amazing, deep, in-depth interview with Johnnie Finch coming up right now.
Let's go.
Lawson continues. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Any lawyer looking to grow their business online can generate more leads from their website by hiring ConsultWebs. After working with lawyers exclusively since 1999, we've tested thousands of web designs and marketing strategies, so we know what flips and what flops. For more information, visit www.consultwebs.com today.
And now, for a Lawson interview.
Johnnie Finch is a North Carolina criminal defense and PI lawyer, author, marketer, and law firm owner. Johnnie focuses on delivering the most efficient and individualized plan of action to restore his clients when faced with legal obstacles. He's amazing on social media. He's amazing in real life. And now we bring the amazing home to you on the Lawson Podcast. Johnnie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this all week. No, it's been about a month now.
It's been a while.
Y'all playing ahead, man. I was ready in like 24 hours. I was like, I got to wait a month and a half? Okay, I'm ready to.
Well, and that's one of the things, like things can change, but from then until now. But we're going to go back, talk about your book, Black Lawyer Confidential. You released it. How long ago did you release the book?
The book was between 2017 and 2018.
Okay.
So yeah, I believe it was 18 at this point.
And so let's talk about that book in specific. What inspired you to write it? How's it been received? And what's been your takeaway marketing wise on like using a book, to leverage, your stance in the marketplace? I know there's a whole bunch of questions in there, and you lawyers don't like it when I stack it like that. I'm so sorry.
No, that's great. So the inspiration for the book was the trials of a first generation super professional. I call it super professional. I guess we call it lawyer, doctor. Not having many people around you to really, or many examples around you in your immediate circle to kind of learn from. And so while I was going to law school and started law practice, there were so many different things that I was learning about life, about myself, about navigating it. And I wanted to make sure that the next crop of first generation attorneys at least had my lessons that I learned. Obviously, there's not going to be, there's no comprehensive book of lessons, but I thought it was a good idea that I leave them with something. And the reason why I did it was because when I would read the books of Johnnie Cochran and Thurgood Marshall and those guys, they were speaking from a life perspective, but they wrote their books pretty late in life. And I realized when you write in the moment, number one, you capture a lot of the emotion. And a lot of times when we're looking for healing, yes, we need the practical application, but just speaking to, yes, I understand where you are right now is really big. And so I wanted to write it earlier on in my law career, again, so I could focus on the law school aspect, because I didn't want to completely forget about law school. And then two, for all the young lawyers who were like, okay, well, this guy's writing this fresh right now. These are his thoughts. So, 20, 30 years, maybe I'll do another one, part two.
That makes perfect sense. And so, how has it been received? You've shared it with, your peers? Did you go back to your law school, or how did you sort of like use the book and parlay that into sort of a relationship with the marketplace?
So the interesting thing about writing a book, so if you're a lawyer and you're writing a book because you want to get information out. But you always, from a business aspect, have to think about what makes the most sense income-wise. So if I sell 100 books, I'll probably make, I don't know, math.
Right.
Let's say I make $10 a book, right? 100 books is how much?
$1,000.
If I were to give my book away, but the person read it, they got in trouble for whatever reason, or their cousin got in trouble, maybe they got caught selling drugs. I do a lot of drug cases. That may be a $15,000, $16,000 case, just generally speaking. So the book, from a lawyer's perspective, is more so trying to get it to the masses than actually trying to sell the book. So a lot of what I do is, while I do sell it, I give it away quite a bit, because that's the piece that's in their office. That's the piece that's in their car. That's the piece that's in their house of me, unlike a business card. And it's a very short read. And so most people really do read the book, but if not, they might hand it on. So it's a walking business card in itself. And it doesn't cost me much to make each book. So it was more so one, it helps with the brand. Obviously, you can read it and see, I'm pretty open about my experiences, my successes and my failures, which I think people really resonate with because I don't poke my chest out all the time. I talk about the losses as well as the wins, and so they resonate with me. And I think most of the time in a marketplace, people just want people that they can have a conversation with and not feel talked down to, or even be in the same level with. And if I'm not that guy, that's fine. You've already read the book. You go find another lawyer that's going to stick his chest out. While I will fight for my clients, I think I take a totally different approach. So the book, from a marketing standpoint, was more about extending the brand and letting people know who I am, so that if they get in trouble, ultimately, even if you call me for a speeding ticket may go for between $250 and $300. Well, that's I could probably make 50, 60 books with that.
And at least help somebody out. So some people would say that's a really expensive business card. And it's real thick.
It's really not. If one book costs $2 and somebody calls me on a speeding ticket, yeah,
it's
and
done.
the speeding ticket is $350. That how many books is that?
It's enough. When thinking about that authenticity and thinking about the relationship, saying that you have a piece of yourself out there. Your videos, the one that comes to mind is "Should I Bail My Child Out of Jail?" And it has, thousands of views. I mean, people are interested to hear a lawyer talk about, something that, might be happening in their lives. But you use Twitter and social media you have a great rapport. You're very authentic, but you're giving good advice, mixed in with like Mike Tyson, laughing, the GIFs of him laughing. It's just a common thing for you, which is hilarious. But so speak a little bit to that, social media wise, how you approach that. And then what advice would you give to other lawyers? I mean, should everybody be like Johnnie Finch? I mean, what if there were just a sea of Johnnie Finches, Here, once again, I've asked you 5 questions. Yeah. So what advice would you give to people, lawyers, with social media, and how do you approach it?
Yeah, so the problem when you ask me 5 questions, I'm answering each one in my head. By the time you get to the 4th question,
I have to stop. Okay,
I had a really good answer for the first question. I
just shot it out of the sky. I mean, what am I doing? Anyway,
but I got it. So I have a theme of answers now, and maybe if I skip a question, just
lay out the buffet and let's just go.
So every lawyer should understand their market more than anything else, right? I have a couple cheat codes that number one, I actually like people, right? Number 2, I have a very unique market that I understand really well because my market is comprised of people just like me.
Right.
So I am my market. I don't have to learn it. Quote bomb. I do party offenses, drug offenses, domestic assault type cases, robbery type cases. All of these cases generally, or the majority of them, usually stem from situations that we've always been in. If aunt and uncle got in a fight, they usually were at the cookout before then, right? And aunt or uncle had too much to drink, they went home and they started fighting. We all have had situations like that. And we were all at the cookout, right? So when I speak, people in my particular, keep in mind, I'm in Northeastern North Carolina, which is a very, very, very small market for lawyers anyway. So unfortunately, and I'm trying to change it, I'm one of one in the category of black male lawyer in my particular district right now. We do have a judge, but no other criminal defense attorneys. And so everything I do is very, very visible, whether it has to do anything with law or not. I go to my college's football game, if I'm just there, if I go speak at the high school, all of that makes me very, very visible because unfortunately there's not a lot of Black attorneys there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to do a lot at all. Just be in places so that people still know that they can reach out to me. And when I do see them, I've always been in my community, and I wasn't always a lawyer. Before I was a lawyer, I worked for the state, and so when people see me, they don't necessarily see there as Johnnie the lawyer. They see that's Johnnie from the community. Oh, and he became a lawyer. And so again, I actually like people, so I can talk to them. And so just being home and having a presence, it makes it a little bit easier for me as far as law practice marketing goes. Now, the second level will actually be the more global reach or the international reach. That's a funner part of it because that's more of the Twitter side. So if you see me on Facebook, normally I'm talking with my neighbors and my mom's friends and my church friends. That's on Facebook. But if you see me on Twitter, that's when I'm building relationships with guys like you that are, doing awesome things, having awesome conferences, looking to at some point maybe if I ever want to leverage my practice to something more where I can help more people as opposed to the individualized help. That's what I would do. So I would not necessarily have anybody subscribe to what I do because my situation is so uniquely set up, and I actually do like people as well.
God, that's my favorite part. That is my favorite part. It's a hack. You actually just like people. It seems brilliant.
Well,
Paul, I like you. You're a likable guy. I mean, we're likable.
I like you too, Jay.
Yeah, think about that.
So I think though, but there is something there that other lawyers I think could learn from you, and it's more talking about advocacy. And when you're talking about being involved in the community, being involved with your church, besides getting away from just free legal advice and something like that, is there more of a leadership aspect? Is there more of a way that you can use kind of advocacy and community relations in your messaging that you think maybe lawyers could learn from?
Oh, are you asking me? Can I do it, or can someone else do it?
Both. I guess. I mean, it's no easy, there's a certain level of authenticity there, I think.
Okay,
is what I'm getting at.
So the thing is, if I'm speaking to someone else, I'm saying, look at what you have, look at your situation and what makes sense to get you where you need to be in your market. And so what I could describe for you is what I do, which is uniquely set up because of, who I am and where I practice at. But what I have the luxury of doing is not necessarily marketing, which is a trick code in itself because it naturally markets. So I'm actually doing the things that I like to do in the community, right? I'm I don't even have to think about getting messages out to the niche market because I'm a part of it. And so what I was trying to say is right now, I could never, for the rest of my career, I could never mention the word law practice, lawyer, criminal defense, or any of those buzzwords in my marketing, and it will probably get me more clients at this point.
And that's a great point because people look to you for other reasons. Is that what we're getting at here? Or you're involved in a way where you don't even need to bring that up, like reputation?
Well, so the first couple of years, I worked on letting people know what I was doing and where I was located and how they could get in contact with me. That was the first couple of years. Okay, now the next couple of years, they already know what I do. And so now what I do is I just speak to the specific problem of the niche market that we're having. For example, right now, unfortunately, there's a lot going on with civil rights issues and law enforcement in the Black community, right? I'm not a civil rights attorney. I'm a criminal defense attorney. So what I'll do, I'll just bring a civil rights attorney on and let him talk about what's going on. That's not marketing. That's not marketing. That's speaking to the issue and the needs of the people. That's how you get credibility.
Yeah, and it's not cloaked in this idea of how are we getting the message out? Or how are we doing the brand? Because maybe it's just, it kind of Does that sort of cheapen the existence, or like, just sort of speak on that? I mean,
if I think it smells, branding or marketing, then I won't do it.
Well, what's your smell test? I mean, do you knock on the melon? Do you sort of look for, some kind of thing, and you're like, moo?
I can give you a real life example.
Yeah.
So over the quarantine, I was able to start a YouTube page because I had some time. I had time. I've been meaning to do it anyway.
Right.
But you see on YouTube, there's a lot of like titles, like clickbait and type of things that people are doing to try to get their views up or whatever.
Yes.
So with this particular situation, the gentleman who unfortunately passed at the hands of the law enforcement officer a couple of days ago, it was something that was weighing heavy on my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But the test was, I'm not doing this so people will look at the video. I balance the gets. If I don't say anything, is it helping anyone? So I could not do it because I don't want to appear a type of way, but people actually need this information, and that is weighed more heavily than it seeming like it may be some type of marketing, which I'm not even speaking. I'm bringing somebody else on to speak about the situation.
Mm-hmm. And just having a conversation and starting a dialogue. And we had a question sort of about lawyers filling this leadership vacuum that we sort of have in not only, everywhere, sort of, but it feels like, who can we look towards? And it's interesting that you sort of have a way naturally to engage on behalf of your law firm in a useful way that provides leadership. I mean, you mentioned Thurgood Marshall and you mentioned Johnnie Cochran. I mean, what does leadership look like in the Black community? And like, just can you kind of like just speak on that?
So this is the issue that we have with new media right now. If lawyers don't step into these positions, then they get taken by people who don't know. And not necessarily that they don't have good intentions, but who are they, and what is their experience? They're a good person in the community, that's great, but they have no experience with anything in the subject matter that they're talking about. And so for me, for the position or the specialty that I've come across, for the things that I've put hours and hours and hours and hours of time in, understanding, then certainly I'm going to go ahead and step into that space before somebody else is put it in that space. And people just start following them because they have a good soundbite, or they just happen to be the person that's volunteering to do it, which is great. You got to step up. But if I don't step up, then somebody else is going to step up, and we're going to be like, why did this person get a mic?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said I don't talk. I only speak to what I have a specialty in. If I don't, thanks to social media, I've been able to meet some friends that have some great specialties, and I've been able to know them for years and reach out and say, hey, man, I need you to come talk about this. So, for example, this evening, a good friend of mine, actually, attorney Harry Daniels from Atlanta, civil rights attorney, he's been doing it for years. He sued Delta, the city of Atlanta, several times. We're going to go on at 6, and he's just going to talk about the facts of the tragedy that just happened. And sorry for talking about sad stuff on the show,
it's part of it. I mean, it's a part of it. It's a part of this quilt. We can switch gears. We can talk about writing the book specifically. A lot of people think they're like John Grisham. A lot of people, they think they got a novel inside of them. A lot of people want to write a book, but no one writes a book, or they talk about it a lot. Like, oh, I'm going to write a book. Speak to the lawyers who might feel like they want to write one. How did you go about like just laying it out and then sort of tactically writing the book? What was your approach?
So this is the thing. I like people, I keep saying that.
I think it's important.
If you don't like people, you'll probably write a very, very educational book, and it'll be there and you can use it. But my love for people also makes me love for people not to struggle when they don't have to, or makes me want to see people not make the same mistakes that I've made. Or there is also a satisfaction, and I think we can attest to this, when you told somebody, hey, if you do this, this is going to happen. And they don't listen to you. At least you told them, right? You
Right.
told them. It's like, I told you it was going to happen. Not a
Right.
satisfaction, but if you didn't tell them, if you didn't tell them what was going on, then you would feel bad because you didn't say it. And so for the book writing process for me was so much more about trying to limit people's mistakes. I think the subject matter is really important because if even for a topic that I feel like is very, very important to the community of first generation lawyers, nobody really wants to, besides a specific niche group of people want to read about wills and estates, right? And that's probably law students and whoever needs help. And you could probably do that in a blog. You don't necessarily need to do it in a book.
You got to be hard up to want that stuff though.
Or you could write it and just have it for you. Now, if you just want to write it and have it for you, but the time and effort that it's going to take, you probably could just do a blog.
Right.
And maybe a blog, if the bottom line is marketing, maybe the blog. And I think now, if I had to choose one or the other, if it was like for the rest of my career, I could write books or I could make videos. I would definitely make videos in this market. I mean, look, I'm a YouTube junkie. I read, but my YouTube to read ratio is probably like 5-1. And the one that I'm reading is because I have to. I mean, I enjoy books, but even when I'm listening to books, a lot of times it's audible. So if you're going to write a book, if you're going to take the time to do it, I probably would consider like a video blog more so. And also whatever market that you're in, not to get too specific, but there's two different types of markets, a couple of different types of markets. But if you live in one of those tourist towns, you got to do it a little bit differently because you're not getting residual business there. You kind of just have to catch whatever comes in town for whatever you're there. If you're doing criminal offense, like everybody gets a ticket when they come in during the summertime. And there's not a lot of community, and you have to do things differently than if you're staying in a town that is not a tourist town and the person that gets the speeding ticket today is going to be the cousin of the person who gets the marijuana charge tomorrow. So those are the things you have to think about too. Now, I think it would help in a market where if there was a tourist town, if you had a book, and because basically they're just internet searching for the best lawyer because they don't know anybody there at that point. And so if you're there and you're up in the Google ads and your book is there, I mean, I don't know if it matters if they have a speeding ticket, but maybe something else. It can't hurt you. But I think a video link would definitely probably work a little bit better.
All right. So there's been a lot of information dispelled here, but let's see if we can get it down to one thing. If you had one piece of legal marketing advice for the, you sit down next to a fellow JD at, in the airport or something, says, man, I don't know what to do. What would you give them? What would you say? What's one thing they should start doing like right now, today?
Are we talking about marketing or?
Sure. Yeah. Or
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah. Legal marketing.
Or if you have
or being an attorney or or just kind of surviving really in the marketplace really is sort of.
Okay. Cause that's two totally different things, right? One is the business aspect and one is like the legal career aspect, like what you do actually in the court. Now they can be one and the same, but to make it easy, let me just answer both. If we're talking about the marketing aspect, just number one, know who that's what anybody say. Just know who you want your clients to be. Like, go there. Who are the people you want to be talking with across the table from you? Those issues that you want to be discussed. You want to have the people across from you that if you crack a joke, they're going to get your joke and you're going to get their joke, right? I can give you a quick example if we have a little bit of time. Okay. So I was once doing a consultation with a client, and he had he had got caught with so much drugs, it was ridiculous, right? and I'm like, man, this is a lot of drugs. Like, you probably could go to prison for about 18 years for the amount of drugs that they're saying that you allegedly got caught with. This is not good. But one of his charges was possession of pyrotechnics. Oh,
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I mean,
With like 21 pounds of blow in the trunk.
118 pounds. I mean, no, grams of heroin. And
Wow.
you just couldn't leave those fireworks over there. Like you just want to charge them with the fireworks. Like but the point is, I'm like, man, this is what I'm really, really worried about right here. He was like, man, how many years is this, man? I don't know. It's the possession of fireworks. His family and myself at that particular point in time, while everybody was sad, we were able to laugh about it because they took the time to charge him with the fireworks. So, those types of moments, like that was probably not the best time to tell a joke, but when you understand your market so well, you can do these type of things and life is a lot easier, right?
I love that. And so maybe know who you want your clients to be is a bit of biz and professional advice. Just sort of know who you want your clients to be and know what kind of lawyer you want to be. Like, what's your advice for the lawyer part of it?
So the lawyer aspect is the same for everybody, man. You gotta work your butt off. Find the area of law that you want to practice in, and it may take. I mean, always do the internships that count. You probably won't stay in the same place. I know for me, every 7 years, I kind of like to leverage into something else, just because you can get bored with something that you even love, or you just, you kind of get tired of it because the more you learn about something, the more you get fed up with issues. So there's nothing wrong with doing something for 7 years and kind of 5 or 7 years and kind of leveraging off of it. But get in there and learn everything you can from everybody that you can learn. Don't get in and read the book. I mean, obviously do the law work, like read up on the specialty area. But if you're a trial lawyer, you got to watch those trials. You got to be on YouTube looking at YouTube is a great resource for that. Watching all of the big trials. I watch Johnnie Cochran all the time before trial. The Casey Anthony trial was a good one. Gentleman Jose Baez is a great lawyer. Just kind of immersing yourself in those things. And when it's time to try cases, if you're a trial lawyer, you gotta try them. And you got earlier on in your career, if you try cases, you'll try less later on because you'll build a reputation for being a fighter. What I've noticed is a lot of lawyers don't like to try cases. There is a small sample of lawyers who actually do like to try cases. But even if someone has great facts, if you're willing to take it to trial, a lot of times you can get a little bit more. And if nothing else, they've got to know, this man is coming in here with I'm not saying do this, with terrible facts, but he's going to try the heck out of this case. And we're going to be here for 3 to 5 days for whatever particular reason he feels like, or his client feels like they should do this. Once you get there, you're in a good working space because you're not going to try as many cases, but the ones that you're there, you're going to be able to be effective with, because from a business standpoint, depending on what type of practice you have, you're not going to make a lot of money if you're in 2-week trials every 2 weeks, right? Because there's so much more you have to do as a solo practitioner. You have to take in clients. You're not working on any cases. There's collections and there's all those things. So if you're in a jury trial 10 days out of the month, that's 10 days that you're missing out. And it is almost, it's almost impossible to bill out what you will be doing for those 2 weeks. Even if you build out on that case perfectly, you would still be missing out if you're doing good marketing, because obviously people are calling your office and they're needing help with things.
How can people learn more about you, Johnnie Finch, online?
I would say the number one place at this point is the YouTube page that we've just created. Not myself, but my production team of one. His name is Tim Bowser. I work with him ever since I started law practice. My law practice in 2016. Started practicing in 2013, and that's big as far as marketing goes as well, because you want your material to be brand consistent. And so whenever you look at anything that I put out marketing wise, he's been able to kind of make it look consistent. Have you noticed that, Jacob?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's something totally different, it'll have the same theme. It'll have the logo and it'll have all those things. So you want to kind of find somebody that you like, and don't be afraid to pay money for great work. Don't put out shabby stuff. But this is the thing. If you put out good, consistent work, it's okay when you put out the iPhone video, because people know that you can get to a level, right? If you always put an iPhone videos, like, but if every now and then you do should I bail my kid out of jail, you're arguing with yourself. What'd you think about that, by the way, Jacob?
Oh my God, I loved it.
That's
I mean,
right.
well, and you really are speaking to someone who has that question. I mean, I have friends who have like
friends, right? Friends.
Friends.
The air quotes.
It
the air
wasn't
quotes
you. Are you sure it wasn't you that you were locked up, Jacob? Are you sure it wasn't you in there?
That was my 4-year-old daughter. What'd you do?
5 questions we ask everyone.
What was the last book you read?
So the book that I read every day is 1 Minute Businessman's Devotional. That is a Christian book by a gentleman by the name of Michael Murdoch. And it's an easy read. It's a daily read, but basically every day he challenges you every morning from a Christian aspect as well as a business aspect. And he applies the individuals from the Bible and their journey to that of a businessman. So it resets me in the morning, lets me know clearly what I'm supposed to be doing, reiterate some things, and he just does a great job of just unpacking the wisdom from the Bible on the business aspect of our lives. And that's been a constant thing for me because I went to Regent University in Virginia Beach, and that's a Christian university. So we did prayer and devotion before each class, which was big because it got me focused on what I'm supposed to do. Because at the end of the day, I'm hoping that while this work that I'm doing, that God is happy with it. So.
Yeah. And so is that like, is that one of those books where you can just sort of open it anywhere and just pick something out? Or is it sort of,
you can go in order, in order, but I think if you go in order, you probably get about 60 days out of it. But surely you could go to any page. It's not in any particular order. So you can start anywhere.
I love it.
I like that. I like the idea of ethics and good intents in businesses. I think
ethics is good. Ethics is definitely
ethics. Try some.
Check it out. Okay, number 2. What is your favorite place?
Actually, The Office, man.
Nice. I hear you.
That's terrible to say, but so my office is very me. Yeah, I've got my TV, I've got my refrigerator there, I have my cigars if I want one there, I got everything that I need. I've got my work there, and so when it's a peaceful place, nobody's there. I can think. I know I get the definitions mixed up, but I definitely love people, but I'm definitely an introvert, meaning that I get my power from being alone. And so just the way that the building is made, like I can't hear anything. Nobody knows I'm there. I can hide there, especially during the evenings when I really get some work done. So I would say The Office, based off that's where I get my power from. Second would probably be The Office. That's it. The Office dominates, man. My bed at my mom's house.
Nice. Hey,
I don't know. Something about taking a nap at your mom's house, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's
I love it.
Or maybe it's just no babies crying there. Maybe that's what
right.
it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. I love my kids, man. I love my kids and my wife.
Yeah. Number 3, what sites, blogs, newsletters, or podcasts do you regularly check in with?
So, do you count YouTube as a site or like?
Oh yeah, for sure.
On YouTube,
there's no rules here, man. It's okay.
Oh, okay. you know when you get into those questions, man, like lawyers don't know how to answer questions.
No, God bless. No, you're
all right. So I'm a YouTube junkie. So at this particular point in time, once they found the algorithm and everything that I have subscriptions to, so I'm constantly on YouTube. I do a funny mix of everything on YouTube. I'll do my news from the day. I'm a big boxing fan. Then I have some comedians that I follow. I have a strange affinity for battle rap. You guys know what that is? Battle rap.
Yes.
Okay. Like the beefing.
Yeah. They call it beefing. They're beefing.
Yes, exactly. And what people don't know is that it's very much. It's a lot like being a trial attorney. That's the way that I equate hours and hours of my life to being beneficial to watching battle rap. But I don't know if you've ever noticed that So in rap in general, so I could say something offensive to you, and you might be like, "Oh man, that's pretty offensive," and someone else could say something offensive to you, but based off their voice projection or their body language, the crowd in the battle rap community may go wild about it. It's kind of the same with a jury. It's like you can say a sentence one way, or you can say a sentence another way. What was it about the way this person said it that really resonated? Which is big for me because I'm not the most. Admittedly, I'm nowhere near the most articulate person in the world. I'm probably one on the bottom of that list. But there's been times when I'll be in the middle of jury trials, and I get out of jury trial, and older lawyers will come to me and they're like, "Man, that is the best closing I've ever seen in my life." Now, coincidentally, every time I've been told that I did not win that case.
No.
I'm big into battle rap, man, and I know it sounds crazy, but there's just different levels. There's the actual preparation, there's delivering it, there's knowing and sensing when your audience is ready to hear something. Another book that I would suggest for lawyers, especially trial attorneys, is called, I have it right here, I just want to say the name correctly. Speak Like Churchill, Stand Like Lincoln. And basically it's a lesson book that each chapter gives you a different speech hack that you can use to be a more effective speaker. So for example, when they call your name, you go to the podium, if you wait maybe 10 seconds before you say a word, they call it the power pause. Like everybody thinks something wrong, like, when is this guy gonna say anything? And they sit there for like another 5 seconds. Then the crowd is drawn into you, and then you start speaking. So really good, really good book for a trial attorney, especially one who's from the South like me, that, like I said, my vernacular is not the most, is not the King's English.
But I think, there's something there. You have to have a certain awareness and control of the situation to be able to make something like that work.
That's cool.
And what you were talking about with the rap battles really fits in with that, because the inflection, how you deliver that go, is going to have so much more of an impact if you wait. You know what I mean? Like that's
dope.
That's cool as hell, man.
I mean, and the key, the one thing that I noticed is people have good attributes. So some rappers or some speakers are really good writers, but others, like, what they say is not that deep. They may say 3 words, but those 3 words are incredible, right? Those 3 words, like, everybody's jumping out of their seat, like, show me the money. Show me the money. Like, that's all he said was show me the money. So, show me the money. Yeah, show me the
Oh, that's awesome. Well, there's something to be said for that. I was just reading a thing about how Thomas Jefferson and Mahatma Gandhi both were terrified of public speaking. So they tried to avoid it, and their speeches were really short, but that gave it this weight because they didn't do it very often.
And they didn't like ramble on.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Number 4.
Okay.
If you were stranded on a desert island and could only pick one condiment to take with you, what would it be?
Mustard.
Nice.
That's it, but just straight mustard? What is it? Special stuff?
Nah, yellow mustard, man.
Done.
I mean, it's not too sweet. I'm assuming that I got to eat it, right? Because I don't have any food. So
you could use it how you want to.
Ketchup, you get sick. Mayonnaise, you'll definitely get sick. But I mean, I feel like mustard is just, weird tasting enough where you could eat it if you had to.
This makes perfect sense.
Fair. All right. Last one. After a long day or a long week at work, how do you relax and unwind?
Usually, especially this time of year, I sit out on the back porch and have a cigar, a little bit of bourbon, Woodford Reserve.
Nice. Yeah, man.
I don't do much, man. I'm from the country, and so like excitement for me does not. If I got one other person that comes over and sits on my porch and the weather is nice, I'm good.
For show notes, links, and info, go to thelawsonpodcast.com or follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Be sure to leave us a review and rating in iTunes or wherever you find the you listen to. Until next week, stay lawsome.